Hey everybody, this is Anthony with VR Game Rankings. Welcome to a brand new episode of our daily vlog series. This is episode 89 for Thursday, February 1st. Yeah, I hope everybody did say rabbit, 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 because if you didn't, you're already screwed. You're not going to have a very good month this month. I did say it, but I was a little bit late, but I'm sure I was the first person in my household to say it. So I will be winning the lottery probably later this week. So I'm very excited about that. But I do want to bring up a couple of things about the show before we get into the actual news. So there are going to be some very minor changes that are going to happen to the show over the next couple of weeks, and I want to give you guys a little bit of a warning about this so you'll understand what is going on with this situation. So basically what I'm going to do is I am changing the way that I am recording the show and also editing the show. I'm not changing cameras. I'm not changing microphones. I don't have an elaborate green screen setup or anything like that, although I would love to have all of that. I'd love a new camera, love a new mic. I'd love to have a really nice green screen setup, and hopefully all of that will come at some point in the future. But what I'm actually doing is I'm just kind of changing the way that I make this show. It's going to be a little bit different in how I put the show together. Now, what does this have to do with you guys? Well, the only thing it has to do with you is I need to ask for your patience over, say, the next 2 weeks or so while I get used to this new style and this new technique. Now, what I need to ask your patience for is these episodes, these daily episodes that I upload, they might come a little bit later than normal. So I apologize for the fact that they're probably going to be delayed even further than they already are. I would love to have the shows up a lot earlier in the day, but I have to deal with the situation that I have to deal with. So it is what it is. So the shows might be a little bit later. And then the other thing is the show's length, the actual length of the show will probably be reduced to a pretty significant degree, at least in the very beginning, because this is a totally new process and I have to get a feel for it and get acclimated to it, and then everything will be great from that point forward. So I'm just asking for your guys' patience just over, say, maybe about 2 weeks. And then after about 2 weeks, I should probably have this new style down pat, and there shouldn't be much of a difference at all. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys know, get that out there up front, and let's go ahead and begin the show. So the first story of the day is we have a brand new game, a brand new VR game that I never knew of whatsoever, has just hit Steam and Oculus Store today. It is also going to be coming to the PlayStation VR at some point in the future. Now, what game am I talking about? I am talking about a new game called In Death. Now, this game is coming to us from Solfar Studios, and if that name rings any kind of bell for you, it probably rings a bell because these are the guys, this is an Icelandic development team. They are the guys that made Everest VR. They brought us Everest VR, and now this is their first real video game that they're bringing to the table, and it is called In Death. So what kind of game is In Death? Well, In Death is a roguelike bow shooter that is going to feature procedurally generated content. So every time you get into the game is going to be a little bit different. The monsters are going to be possibly in different locations. The locations are going to be set up a little bit differently. The loot might be in different locations as well. And this is, of course, going to be a $19.99 release. It does have a 10% launch day discount for $17.99. Now, I did go to the Steam page, and on the Steam page, the price is $19.99. It is not showing the 10% discount, which would drop it down to $17.99. However, if you go to the Oculus Store, the price is discounted at $17.99. So it's my guess that very soon today, their Steam page will be updated and it will reflect the proper discount, the 10% off discount. This is an early access game, so you need to understand this is early access. The developer is planning to have continual updates on this game over time. What they're looking for is feedback from the first wave of players that experience the game, and as they get feedback, they will make adjustments and alter the game accordingly. They are hoping to have the final version of In Death completed sometime in 2018. Now, what's kind of interesting here is this is early access, but on the Oculus Store, they don't really have an early access program. So it's kind of interesting. If you were to buy this game on the Oculus Store, does it say anywhere that this is, I mean, does Oculus have any kind of a warning that, you know, hey, this is early access? Because that is a little bit of a conundrum that Oculus is in, from the standpoint everybody understands Steam early access, but of course these games a lot of times are going to come to Steam and Oculus simultaneously, and I'm curious if Oculus says anything on the store about, hey, this game is still in early development or anything like that. I haven't noticed anything personally, but I'm not on the Oculus Store all the time looking for that type of stuff. But that is an interesting topic as well. Now, what does this game feature? Well, it features ranged combat. It features a unique locomotion system. Now, what do they mean by this? I'm guessing what they mean by this is that there are several different locomotion options, so you'll be able to tailor the locomotion to your preference, is what I'm thinking this is. There will also be global cross-platform leaderboards, a beautiful medieval setting. I have seen the trailer for this game. In fact, it's probably playing right now on the video screen. It does look pretty damn good. And they're also going to provide convenient settings for your various play styles. Now, once again, I think that kind of goes back to the locomotion. Now, one thing I did notice while watching the trailer for this game, if you watch the trailer really close, one thing you're going to notice is something is very familiar. Yes, there are zombies from the Brookhaven experiment in this game. This is something that I've noticed in a number of VR games. Now, I believe these are relatively generic Unity assets that anybody can purchase. And so when Brookhaven experiment was first made, Phosphor Studios must have purchased these assets off Unity for these different kinds of zombies, the foot soldier zombies, and then some of the other zombies as well. And we're starting to see these enemies appear in other games. And I noticed them in the trailer. I caught it immediately. I caught the foot soldier zombie. And then at the very, very end of the trailer, you only see it for a split second, but the other larger menacing zombie from Brookhaven experiment is also in this game as well. Now, does that decrease the enjoyment level of this game? That's to be seen. I don't really know if that is going to affect me that much when I'm actually in the game playing. Will it bother me that I'm fighting Brookhaven zombies? Will it take me out of the experience a little bit? There could be a little bit of that. I think that's pretty much a given. You know, it's going to take you out of the experience a slight bit when you notice enemies from other games, but we still need to judge this game on its own merits. It does look pretty good. A bow shooting game is a great idea. We've seen this done very well in VR in so many different games. Twisted Arrow, Longbow, there's all kinds of great bow games, and this could be another one. And the roguelike option is interesting as well. It gives you a different kind of play element, and of course the procedurally generated levels are interesting as well. So that is In Death. It is available right now, and you can pick it up on Steam and the Oculus Store. Now we get to story number 2. Story number 2 is, if you put $10 down on a pre-order for Seeking Dawn, you can guarantee your way into the closed beta for Seeking Dawn. Yes, so apparently, if you go to the Seeking Dawn website, there is an option to sign up for the closed beta. There's also an option that you can click on where you can put $10 down on Seeking Dawn, and apparently this will automatically get you into the closed beta. Now, the only problem with this situation is to be able to do either option, you have to sign up for what's called a multiverse passport. Now, basically, this is probably just putting in an email, maybe a username. Who knows what information you have to give real quick to get one of these. I didn't jump through the hoops, but if you want to jump through those hoops, you can go ahead and try to get into the closed beta, or you can just go ahead and put your $10 down and guarantee yourself a spot in the closed beta. Now, one thing to remember about this closed beta, you will have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and you aren't really allowed to talk about your experience. From what I understand, for media that want to sample the game, there will be a separate build where you will be allowed to talk about your experience, but this is completely separate. But if you do want to get into Seeking Dawn, that is an option to get into the closed beta. I'm not sure how the $10 down works, because does this guarantee you $10 off Steam or $10 off the Oculus Store? This is through the Seeking Dawn website. You're not pre-ordering it on Steam as far as I'm aware, although I obviously did not go through the actual process, so who knows how it actually works, but you can go to the website and check that out. Story number 3, is Super Lucky's Tale going to make its way to VR platforms? Now, obviously, we got Lucky's Tale at the launch of the Oculus Rift, and Super Lucky's Tale was an exclusive to the Xbox One. And as far as we know, there is no VR version of Super Lucky's Tale coming. At least that's what we thought at first, but a tweet today by Playful could possibly change that situation. Now, Playful tweeted out a tweet where they simply stated, "We can't promise anything, but we feel hopeful about Lucky's chances of returning to VR someday." So it's very possible we could be looking at a VR version of Super Lucky's Tale that could possibly be announced in the very near future. Now, the question, of course, is, what platform are we going to play this game on? Honestly, most likely, if this game were headed to VR, it would probably head to the Microsoft Store and be available for the Microsoft mixed reality platforms. So if you have yourself an Acer headset or a Samsung Odyssey or a Dell or Lenovo, you can go ahead and pick up Super Lucky's Tale in the Microsoft Store and be able to play it on your headset without problems. However, are we going to get this game on the Oculus Rift? What about the HTC Vive? Is there going to be a way to play this game somehow? Or is this game actually headed for Xbox VR? One thing that we have to remember as we head towards E3 later this year, you have to imagine that Xbox is finally going to enter the VR game, and they will have to show off whatever headset it is at this upcoming E3, and they're also going to need to have some big games to show off with their headset as well. So Super Lucky's Tale, could it be a console VR game that could be coming to the Xbox later this year? That's a possibility as well. So we're not sure what the deal is with Super Lucky's Tale. There's even a possibility that Microsoft has an exclusivity window on Super Lucky's Tale on the flat version of Super Lucky's Tale, but that exclusivity window could run out, and who knows, we could see Super Lucky's Tale arrive on all kinds of VR platforms. It could arrive on the HTC Vive, the Oculus Rift, and the PlayStation VR, all simultaneously. Remember, Oculus does not own Playful. They did bring out Lucky's Tale, but they don't have any rights to Super Lucky's Tale. Microsoft has the rights for the Xbox, for the flat version, but we have no idea about VR. So there's lots of different possibilities in regards to Super Lucky's Tale, and I think odds are very good that on some VR headset in the year 2018, you will be able to play Super Lucky's Tale. Okay, so speaking of platformers in VR, I do have some game discussion for everybody. VR Roundtable was provided a code for the game. I was able to check it out, and I gotta tell you, I am really liking what I am seeing from Ken. First of all, this game is $15. It is a third-person platformer. I know there's lots of people out there that aren't really into third-person VR gaming. I've said it a million times. I think you're not really taking advantage of the full situation, because there is a lot of great stuff in third person, stuff like Bound, stuff like Chronos, stuff like Blaze Rush. And you know what? It's interesting because Kin is actually similar in certain ways to Blaze Rush. When you play Blaze Rush, the way they make the game is it's almost like there's this imaginary table that is laid out in front of you. You're sitting down, you're playing the game, but at the proper height, there's this table, this invisible table that is going right up to your chest, and the game is basically taking place in this world right here, and you're able to look at this world, and it's like a hologram that is basically just happening in front of you. That is what's going on with a lot of these third-person games, and Kin is very much in this style. It's kind of a tethered style. It's kind of this overhead perspective. Now, here's the thing. When you first get into Kin and you first start playing it, it doesn't really blow you away right away. And I think part of the problem is it has this more pulled away camera view where you're kind of far away. The character is really small and you kind of have this godlike view. You see a bunch of water, you see these little islands, you see your little character running around, but it almost seems too far away. But the key is stick with the game, play through some of the early levels, and then you start to see the brilliance of what this game has. Now, it is more of a faraway viewpoint, but the thing is, the game kind of takes place all around you. Basically, the game is allowing for the fact that you are sitting in a chair, you're holding an Xbox controller, and you're playing this game that way. And what it does is it kind of creates this invisible landscape that goes up to your chest and kind of wraps around you to the side and around, almost like you have, like, say, a railroad track or something, you know, where you made some type of railroad track and you have a railroad going on and you're just right there and it's right in front of you. That is the way this game is laid out. It's a platform world and you're controlling your character, you're moving your character around, there's enemies, you have different attacks that you can do, you have this sword swinging that you can do, you can throw a boomerang weapon that ends up coming back to you. I'm very early in the game. I did play one boss. I did go against one boss. The first boss is very impressive. It was a very interesting battle that I had with this boss. I was finally able to get past this boss and get into the second level of the game. And the second level of the game, the colors are much different. It takes on a different vibe. Very impressive. It's this beautiful world that is just kind of surrounding you, and you get to see your character. And a lot of times it is very zoomed out and the character is far away. If I do have a complaint about the game, it's that sometimes when you're first starting a level, your character is like way over there. It's like the size of like a eraser or something that would be on a table, and it's way over there, and you got to bring it all the way over to where you are, and then you might have to move it and take it over that way. So it's kind of this game that is played out in front of you. And if there's any complaint I can make is I kind of wish there was maybe a zoom feature where you could kind of zoom in on the game and kind of zoom back out. Now, I don't know if that would cause motion sickness, and maybe there is that possibility. I haven't looked into the controls 100%. This is very much my first take. I've barely played the game, just got past the first boss, just got into the second level, but I'm definitely liking what I've seen from Kin. And if you're a fan of third-person VR platformers, I think you absolutely need to pick up this game. If you're an Oculus Rift owner and you have an Xbox One controller, that's the other issue that we have to wonder about. There's people out there that they bought an Oculus Rift in the summer of Rift. They don't have an Xbox One controller to use with their PC, if that's the situation. I'm not sure exactly if I would want to play this game using the touch controllers. I'm sure it's relatively playable, but it's probably tiring for your hands to not have that controller where you have two hands, you're sitting down, and you're just kind of relaxing and playing this game. That's what this game is. This is a change of pace game. So many VR games, we're standing up, we're immersed completely in the world, our boots are on the ground, but every once in a while we need a game where we can kick back, relax, sit down, and enjoy enjoy the game. And I think Kin is this type of game. And if you were somebody that enjoyed Chronos, if you were somebody that enjoyed Bound, if you're somebody that enjoyed any of the various third-person platforming games that we have on the various platforms, you're probably going to really like Kin. So maybe consider it. Not sure if it runs well under Revive. This game definitely should hit the PlayStation VR. After playing this game for a short period of time, I can tell you right now, this would absolutely be perfect for PlayStation VR. So I really hope House of Secrets is working on a PlayStation VR version. It would make a lot of sense. I think the game would sell very well on PlayStation VR. It's actually maybe a better target market over there for the third-person action-adventure games. Okay, everybody, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for episode 89 of the Daily Vlog series. It, of course, has been Thursday, February 1st, and I will see everybody tomorrow on Friday. Take it easy. Later.